Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. I know it's kind of late on a Tuesday night, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and make a video on King Hiss. So, for those that have known me for a long time, you know that I made this really cool King Hiss a long time ago that is kind of a half transformed. And I made it after 2000X came out. And I like the idea of King Hiss having four snake arms. So, let me just try to open this thing up. Ugh. You can see the two extra arms in the back there, and they slide on through. And so when he transforms, he has the four snake arms. And it's just kind of a cool extra little tidbit for fighting. And then also his head points forward, so it's more in line. And then he can fight He-Man, and it's way cooler looking. But when the King Hiss for Classics came out, this is the snake form we got. Now here's King Hiss right here. And he was kind of cool and stuff, but there just wasn't enough um, of snakes for me. And a lot of people were like, wait a minute, we need more snake pieces. So taking a second snake piece and merging them together, you could create a cool multi-snake, way cooler. There we go. Now that's more worthy of a King Hiss kind of thing. Now, when King Hiss was first released, one of the big issues we had was the backwards shoulder syndrome, and he was one of the first figures that we recognized it on. Now, we found out later on that the original He-Man had backwards shoulders too, and maybe even, I'm not sure if King Grayskull had it or not, but basically you had to take the top part of this rubber piece off and then break the torso open, swap the shoulders, do some sanding on it, and then put them back together. Then you have the corrected shoulders. And if you want to see how that's done, go to he-bro.com and then click on the custom figures, and I have how to fix your King Hiss's shoulders. Now, later on, we got, of course, the the guards, the royal guards, and they came with a snake head. And so I took the snake head and King Hiss's head and kind of combined them and made this. So that way then I could swap it out and do a kind of half transformed King Hiss. And then I realized that he's got the fat armor syndrome. So I made another King Hiss body that his shoulders or his arms actually go much closer to his body, where I've taken and sanded down the lats inside and then made the rubber fit a whole lot tighter on that armor. So then I was able to make a new version without the fat armor. And there were some people that took and cut the armor to make it fit. So now we had a nice King Hiss that has that interchangeable head and multi snakes, and it was pretty cool. Then I thought, you know what? I want to take us a step further. I would like to make one that uses the outside armor on the snakes. So I made this one right here. So it's like he's half transformed. The snakes are busting out. He's got his arms. He's got the snakes. And how cool is that? And I thought, it's still not enough. How about I make a 2000X bottom half? So I made this right here out of Chief Carnivus, is that his name? Where I used his boots, bottom half. I think I used the feet were from Bo, I think. And then I painted this green around there, green around here. And now I could have a cool 2000X-ish looking bottom. Oh, thanks, man. And so that way then I had all these different King Hisses. Now, as you know, eventually we had the 2000X King Hiss finally come out. And I was pretty ecstatic about getting this guy. I thought, all right, finally we could do some really cool customs. They fixed the shoulders on him, and I was pretty excited about getting this King Hiss and pulling him apart. And the loincloth is way better than the one that I made, and I was pretty excited. So we got that King Hiss. Let me go ahead and pull him out. Here he is. And I was getting ready to do some part swapping, and I noticed right off the bat that the greens didn't match. You can see here this one's kind of more of an olive drab, and this one's kind of a more of a darker army green or something, or hunter green. So they didn't match, so you couldn't do a lot of swapping. And I was really hoping to recreate this figure with the correct shoulders that from an actual Mattel figure. So it was time to customize again. So some of you saw my last video. First thing was to get rid of the fat armor syndrome. I don't know why they made this band right there, just to be in the way of that arm going down. So fat armor gone by cutting out that band, and now he can put his arms down low to his waist. And then later on, they gave us this really cool snake figure. Ta-da! Which now we had a really awesome King Hssss piece to use with your King Hssss. Now that was pretty cool. I was glad when we got that. Pretty excited. But the thing that bothered me about this figure is the loincloth, or the center part, was based on the first King Hssss, not 2000X. So what I did was I popped off the legs. There's a leftover piece. Took another 2000X King Hssss and ta-da! Put the legs back on there. You can see how it's green underneath there, but you can't see it because the loincloth's so huge. And now I got a 2000X snake guy ready to go. And that's pretty cool. So now we have this interchangeability where you can have a really cool 2000X King Hssss. Now whenever you put these on, notice you got a hexagon piece on here, hexagon circles inside there. Line them up. You can feel when it hits that sweet spot, then push it in. Otherwise, you may break the inside of the hookup, and then you won't be happy because it will always keep falling back out. So that's like a really cool Ultimate King Hssss. But you guys know me. I can't just leave it alone. So I decided to make a mid-transformed one with the armor on. And then, of course, now I can make a cool, let's see, find that sweet spot, and there it is. So that's pretty cool. Now, one thing that kind of bothered me was this King Hssss, the coloring wasn't quite right. As I mentioned before, it's kind of the wrong shade of green. So I wanted to make a King Hssss that was the darker shade of green, and here he is right here. And so this way, this King Hssss actually matches the first release King Hssss in color. So that's kind of cool. Just basically did a bunch of part swapping, got it all figured out, little green paint here and there, and now I have a King Hssss that matches the same color. And of course I did the shoulder fix on him, and you can see that the color is the right color now, not this kind of weird olive green. And I did this also so that way then I could have a pair of legs that I made also in dark green that I could use with the original Hssss and not have it mismatch. There we go. So a little more swappability, changeability. And then I thought, you know what? I should go the other direction. I should take and make a light green out of the old style. So here is my light green version that matches the 2000X King Hssss. And you can see the color's the same. And it looks weird because the armor, when you paint it that way, it's quite a lot of that olive green. But it came out pretty cool. So now I have this version of King Hssss, so I can do some more swapping and it doesn't look too strange because the coloring still matches. So, and as you know, when King Hssss came out, he also had this cool extra snake head that's half transformed. And what's interesting is the green they used is actually the darker green. And so it actually matches the original figure better than it does the 2000X figure, which I thought was kind of an interesting call on Mattel's part. So I was glad that I made the darker green one, because then if I do a head swap, it does match. Oh, it's kind of tight. I don't want to pull out my heat stuff to heat it up right now. But you guys get the idea. All right, so there are my King Hssss. Lots of parts, lots of fun. Probably one of the most customized figures that I've made. I've actually sold quite a few of them. I sold a lot of these 2000X versions that I made myself before they released the 2000X. So I actually made quite a few of these and sold them just like this with a cool busted out snake part and the 2000X legs that I created from Chief Carnivus. But so those of you that bought this, hopefully you still enjoy it. But that's my King Hssss story. So later on, probably when the Four Horsemen finish releasing their cool new horses on pre-order, I'm gonna do a video on Rio Blast, and the Rio Blast also had the fat armor, and I fixed it as well. I'll show you that in that video as well. So look forward probably in a few months for that Rio Blast video when the Four Horsemen release that cool new horse that I'll be using for Rio Blast. And until then, subscribe, like, share with your friends, and I'll have some other videos of my evolution of customizing figures from one to another, and how I got, well, in this case, I got quite a lot of King Hssss, even all the way back to my 80s original. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Share with your friends. Let them know what you think. And if you want to see some more cool customs, just go to he-bro.com, and in there I have how to do that shoulder fix and other things as well. All right, you guys, thanks again. Bye now.